Nintendo Steve here. Welcome back to the channel. Thought I'd do something real quick today, something kind of fun, something that has to do with today's WWE. So Money in the Bank is coming up in just a couple weeks, and it's always one of my favorite pay-per-views. It's quickly grown into sort of its own Big Four, I guess that would make it Big Five type thing, where you can expect most of the time some sort of cash-in on the night of Money in the Bank, making it a very unpredictable show. And it's a lot of fun, and I feel like this year is kind of no different in terms of the unpredictability factor. So I thought it'd be fun to go ahead and talk about the contenders for the men's Money in the Bank match. Of course, I'm actually filming this. This is going live a good 5 days before the final two spots on SmackDown are decided in matches involving Shinsuke Nakamura and Baron Corbin, and of course Cesaro and Seth Rollins. But that's not going to stop me from speculating as to who is going to get those spots and who is going to end up winning Money in the Bank. And I've got three different ideas for that. And I've got who I think is going to win. I've got who should win. And finally, I've got a dark horse candidate. So before I get started, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. Let's help grow Wrestle Juice into a wrestling powerhouse here on YouTube, right? Anyways, let's go ahead and kick this off. Let's talk about the contenders for Money in the Bank. I'm going to go through each one of these and let you know what I think their odds are. First up, Shinsuke Nakamura. He's got a qualifier this coming Friday. I feel like Shinsuke Nakamura he's already doing something right now. He's already got the crown. He's the king of the WWE. I feel like they're going to be transitioning that storyline into a King of the Ring tournament. There's been rumors as such. So I feel like he's going to be doing King of the Ring stuff. I do think he's going to win his match against Baron Corbin and move on to the Money in the Bank match. However, he's just going to be there to be a high quality participant in that particular match. So I do not think Shinsuke Nakamura is going to win Money in the Bank. Baron Corbin also in that match. He's not even going to get into the Money in the Bank match because he's currently in the middle of a storyline in which he is a loser. He's broke. He's trying to sell his expensive watches to Dolph Ziggler because he lost all of that sweet endorsement money from when he was a king. And now he's on hard times, baby. So I don't think Baron Corbin's even going to make it into that match. Cesaro. I think Cesaro is going to win on Friday on SmackDown against Seth Rollins. I think that here, I'll just go ahead and talk about Cesaro and Rollins at the same time. For a little while, I thought that Rollins would actually be the perfect Mr. Money in the Bank. Why? Number one, we've seen it before. He's probably got the greatest cash-in in the history of cash-ins. I was there for that live, by the way, which is why I can firmly say it was the best. But I feel like if the rumor is true that he is going to be facing Edge come SummerSlam, I feel like that's going to be motivated by him interfering in Edge's match against Roman Reigns at Money in the Bank. And I feel like he doesn't need a Money in the Bank contract to do that. His goal right now is to win the Universal Championship. I feel like they're going to hold off a little while to eventually get around to Rollins versus Reigns, and I don't think it's going to be in a cash-in situation, as fun as that could be. I don't think anybody's going to cash in on Roman Reigns, and in fact, I think the winner of Money in the Bank is going to be a Raw superstar. So I don't think it's going to be Rollins, and I don't think that he's even going to make it to Money in the Bank because he doesn't need that briefcase to make an impact. And in fact, if he had the briefcase and he shows up to screw Edge out of his match with Roman Reigns and doesn't cash in, that wouldn't make a lick of sense. No, I think Seth Rollins is going to be a desperate man who sees Edge as the source of his problems. He feels like he's ready right now for that Universal Championship shot against Roman Reigns, and Edge has weaseled his way into a match with Roman Reigns, so he's going to screw Edge out of that title. And I think that sort of desperation move is going to have its genesis in losing to Cesaro for that Money in the Bank spot, which is why this Friday I firmly believe Cesaro is going to be in Money in the Bank. But again, he's going to be in Money in the Bank basically just to make it look good. He already had like a title shot against Roman. He's not the kind of guy to cash in. I just don't see there. I'll spoil this. Vince usually likes to go with somebody who you can kind of tell Vince is obsessed with in the moment. Last year, we saw this with Otis. Otis kept on main eventing SmackDowns. It was kind of weird. He had this big, juicy story with him and Mandy Rose and all that. And it just sort of made sense for Otis to win Money in the Bank last year and to do so in the comedic way in which he did, given that the match itself was that sort of wild, wacky, comedic, cinematic match that Money in the Bank was back in 2020. I think similarly this year, the winner of Money in the Bank is going to be somebody that Vince is really focused on right now, and I'll tell you who that is in just a second. So we've eliminated Rollins, we've eliminated Corbin, Nakamura and Cesaro probably going to be in Money in the Bank, and they're not going to win it. Moving on, Drew McIntyre. I think that Drew McIntyre, this was laid down a couple weeks ago when Jinder Mahal said, hey, if somebody is taken out of this match for whatever reasons, please just consider me. He told that to Sonya Deville and Adam Pearce. I feel like that was a little bit of foreshadowing for what's going to happen at Money in the Bank, or maybe between now and Money in the Bank. I think Jinder Mahal is going to end up costing somehow, some way, Drew McIntyre his Money in the Bank opportunity. And that's going to lead to a match between Drew McIntyre and Jinder Mahal from Money in the Bank to SummerSlam. I think that's going to be the feud playing out at that time. Drew can no longer challenge for the WWE Championship. And I feel like that would, Money in the Bank, yeah, that would be the exception, but I just don't see it happening. I think that they're done with Drew for now. For Mr. Money in the Bank, I could be wrong, or for the WWE Championship. They literally just had a match where they said as much, so I feel like it's not going to be Drew McIntyre. Next up, Ricochet. He is simply in this match to do cool shit, which is a shame because he's great, but he's also a face, and he's not going to be the kind of person to it's just not. He's there to do cool shit. That's kind of it. Kind of the same reason Cesaro is going to be in this match. It's just to do cool shit. Kevin Owens is great. I think Kevin Owens is wonderful. I don't think he's going to win Money in the Bank. He's going to be obviously in the match. He won his last man standing match against Sami Zayn this past week. But I get the feeling that Kevin Owens, given that they were still selling his taking the Nigerian nail from Commander Aziz, I think he's probably going to be fighting Apollo Crews at SummerSlam for the Intercontinental Championship. He's got some history with the Intercontinental Championship. He still owes Apollo and Aziz one for getting hit with that nail. So, yeah, I kind of feel like that's going to be his route. He's not going to be winning Money in the Bank. Next, let's go to my dark horse candidate for maybe, possibly, potentially winning Money in the Bank, and that's Johnny Drip Drip, John Morrison. There's a couple reasons why I think he's kind of a dark horse candidate. Number one, he's totally in this match to do cool shit. Same as Ricochet, right? The thing about Johnny Drip Drip is that he has been, number one, he's been putting in really, really good performances when he's been given time in the ring. He is one of their stiffest workers. He's one of the more exciting wrestlers that they have. He's never really featured all that much, although that didn't stop them from giving that briefcase to Miz when he won it from Otis. Or didn't he just get it in that courtroom case? Anyways. So I kind of feel like it's not out of the realm of possibility for them to throw us a bit of a curveball with John Morrison, a guy who we wouldn't expect, but he is, by virtue of his alliance with The Miz, kind of a heel, but the fans are also really going to love Morrison once they come back. And I feel like maybe, just maybe, Vince might put that briefcase on Morrison, which would be kind of an exciting thing because I feel like Morrison can either scheme with Miz to cash in at the right moment, or I don't know. I really think that I just get the feeling that Morrison might be the guy. If Vince McMahon isn't convinced at the last minute with who he has planned, I think he's probably going to be like, yeah, let's give it to Morrison and see what we can do with it. Worst case scenario, he can lose it to somebody else down the line, and then that person can cash in. Let's move on. So I think Morrison's our dark horse. Next up, I'm going to talk about the person who really should win Money in the Bank if you want the biggest crowd explosion. I don't think this is going to happen. It should be in the hands of Big E. And I'll tell you why. If you want, with the arrival of fans at Money in the Bank, to blow the roof off that building, it's very simple. Have Kofi and Bobby Lashley go 25 minutes in a killer match. Just an absolute banger of a match in which both men are just beat up and brutalized. And in the end, Bob Lashley uses MVP to cheat, just like he did with Drew McIntyre. Earlier in the night, Big E has won Money in the Bank, and it's already been established by Zelina Vega that you can go to any brand with that briefcase. Big E comes out to basically pull like a Hogan WrestleMania 9 situation where Bret Hart gets screwed by Yokozuna and Hulk Hogan comes down and he wins the title for himself as a way to sort of gain vengeance for Bret Hart. So Big E comes down after Kofi is screwed. He cashes in on an already beat up Bobby Lashley, gives him a couple of big endings while Xavier Woods takes out MVP. And you've got new WWE champion Big E. The place would absolutely erupt. He would be back on Raw with the New Day. Kofi would be happy because it's his brother. And if it's not going to be on Kofi, then he'd be cool with it being on Big E. They've already given him his blessing to go pursue singles gold. I think that would be absolutely the way they should go. I just don't think it's going to, simply because if you look at what they've been doing with Big E lately, he doesn't really seem to be a guy that Vince McMahon is focusing on all that much. His singles push on SmackDown has not been all that great. I kind of feel like had Aleister Black not been released, that sort of Dark Father rebrand thing they were doing, the first step of that was going to be Aleister Black winning that particular feud with Big E. That, you know, he kicked him and then he went back through the portal and disappeared. So, you know, you can sometimes they telegraph these things. You can just sort of tell Vince is tickled with somebody and then he'll go ahead and do something like put Money in the Bank on them, or he'll have them win the Royal Rumble or whatever. In this case, I don't see a lot of that going on with Big E. Maybe that just means that they're playing their hand really close to the vest. I don't know. Maybe not. But, and I also kind of feel like Bob Lashley's probably going to carry that title into SummerSlam if he has a match against Brock Lesnar, although that doesn't need a title. I think Big E being the champion would be absolutely terrific. And yeah, I don't think it's going to happen, but that place would absolutely explode. And you want to cash in the night of Money in the Bank to get some of that buzz that you lost during the pandemic era. Which leaves us with one person, the guy who I think is obviously going to win Money in the Bank, and that's Matt Riddle. It's obvious because he has been on Raw all over the place. Literally last week, he was on 2 matches. He won the Money in the Bank qualifying Battle Royal, and then he participated in the main event. Vince McMahon obviously loves everything he can do in the ring, and he's really nailed that sort of thing that Vince really loves, that main roster kind of corny humor thing. His chemistry with Randy Orton is great. And the great thing is, even if you don't know exactly what you're going to do with Riddle and that briefcase right now, this story with Randy Orton offers so many options. Could Orton start to sway Matt Riddle towards his sort of brand of, like, you know, manipulation of being the apex predator? Say, hey, Riddle, I know you're a good guy, but this is really how you want to do things. You want to cash in on an opponent who's already been beat up. And Riddle will be like, no, that's not cool. I'm Matt Riddle. Like, I'm a nice guy. There could be a lot of different options right there for them to explore with Riddle, Orton, and Money in the Bank, including Orton trying to get that Money in the Bank briefcase off of Riddle into his own hands. There's so many ways you can go with that. And I just think that Vince McMahon is really, really enamored with Matt Riddle these days. Like I said, he's been everywhere on TV. He's one of their stronger characters, and he's a great wrestler. It just all sort of adds up that Matt Riddle is going to be the guy who carries Money in the Bank, and it'll offer up some really interesting storyline options for them down the road. That's what I think. It's going to be Matt Riddle this year. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, everybody. Check out one of these other videos here. I did this video where I took all the AEW stars and I made them look old. It's literally the stupidest thing I've ever done. Check it out. If you want a cheap laugh, that's what I do here at Wrestle.